Evening, everyone, and welcome. We're really glad that you're joining us live tonight. My name's Scott Harker. I'm a certified gut health specialist, and I help men and women deal with their metabolic issues, gut inflammation, and just help them feel better. I'm blessed tonight and joined by three great friends, and so excited. A few of them I haven't been on doing lives. I've been doing lives for a little over a year now, and I haven't got to do lives with some of these folks for a while. And so tonight, you're going to hear something really exciting. You're going to hear some transformational stories that's happened in our lives with a protocol that we're using. And just we want to take a night tonight and just share that with you. So first, let me just introduce my good friends. Down in the lower left-hand corner, Amy Van Houten. Hi, Amy. Glad you could join us.
Hello.
All right.
Thanks for having me, Scott.
Oh, we're always excited. It's been a while, Amy.
I
So
know.
excited. Yeah. And then a new friend, Bill Poe, got to meet him a couple weeks ago, join us on a live. So, Bill, thanks for
Oh,
joining.
thank you.
Yeah. And Wayne, good friend, got to meet Wayne about a year ago and really blessed to get to know him. And just he's got such a great story and can't wait for each and every one of you to hear what they've got to say. And we're going to share some testimonies, give you a little science, little fun things around that, and why we're on here tonight. But here's what I want you to do. I want to take just a moment, if you're on here joining us live tonight, and pause for just a minute. We're going to be talking about things like if you have, let's say you're dealing with just poor energy. Maybe tonight we're having trouble with getting rid of that belly fat, or someone's got type 2 diabetes, or just some kind of metabolic issue. I want you to take a moment and I want you, if you're in Facebook or one of the platforms, tag a friend, someone that could benefit from this call right now. Tag them and do that. Get them on here. And if they're not on there, get your phone out, text them, get them on here, because we're going to share something I think is transformational and absolutely it can help people tonight. So let me go ahead and share my screen. Oops, and I messed up here. There we go. So I want you to take a look at this for just a moment and look at this wheel and think about you in the middle, okay? And tonight, if you're dealing with poor sleep, or maybe you get those afternoon cravings or late night cravings or even morning cravings, brain fog, you're dealing with the afternoon crashes of low energy, you're dealing with maybe that weight gain around the middle, that belly fat you can't get rid of, or maybe type 2 diabetes, or just pre-diabetes, high blood sugar, or whatever. Tonight, we're going to talk about what's at the center of that. But when you look at that, there's a doctor for almost every one of these. You have nephrologists, you have general practitioners, you have neurologists, right? You have all kinds of different doctors, cardiologists, but they're all linked at the center with one thing, and that's called insulin resistance. And tonight, we're going to help you understand why insulin resistance is at the center, how it's impacting us, right? And share with you tonight, with my friends and myself, of what we did about it and how it's what we did to transform our lives around insulin resistance. So, before we talk about insulin resistance, I just want to ground us and make sure you know what insulin is. And we're going to talk about insulin resistance. But insulin is just a hormone that is produced by the pancreas that acts like a key to unlock your cells with sugar so it can be enter into the cell and be used for energy. And it's so important. But insulin resistance is where basically our cells start to become deaf, right? You see, when um, with insulin resistance, your sugar stays high and stays in your blood. But when the sugar can't get into the cell, we become insulin resistance, right? So what happens is that insulin is the key, and it unlocks the door into the cell to allow sugar to come out of your bloodstream and into that cell to be used as energy. But when that key doesn't work properly, we start to have the symptoms and start to have the issues that you saw on that first slide. You feel tired, you crave more sugar, and your body stores fat, right? And it's not about needing less fuel, because we have enough fuel in our bloodstream. It's about utilizing it efficiently. And that's what insulin resistance is where we're not using the fuel that we already have in our bloodstream, and then that sugar goes and it's stored other places. So I'm going to be sharing a little bit more about that tonight and help you understand what's going on. But first, I want to introduce to you Bill Poe. And Bill's going to share a little bit about his story around a protocol that we use. And you're going to see us every once in a while showing these little tools right here and explaining how we use them and what it's all about. But I want you to listen to Bill's story. And Bill, take it away.
Thank you. So first off, I want to say hello to everybody. And even though I've only been doing this 2 weeks, I have had some amazing things happen. For years, I've been a diabetic. I was on 4 types of insulin. Now, I did something that they don't recommend you do. When I first found this product, I did the deep dive into the research because I am total skeptic. So I did deep dive into the science behind it. And it was like, this just makes total sense. So the thing I'm going to tell you I did, I don't recommend for everybody to do, but I did not consult my doctor. I said, forget it. This stuff, it should work, period. I'm going to put confidence in it. And I quit all of it. Now, of course, people said, oh, you shouldn't do that. And this is going to happen and that's going to happen and blah, blah, blah. Well, I'm going to tell you that I have a reader, a constant reader in my arm. My sugars used to go up on my insulin, like up to over 200. And then when they'd come down, it'd be a real slow slope down. Now my insulins, you could tell when I eat because it goes this little blip and then it'll come right back down and then it's level. And it's been doing this like after 5 days, it started doing this. And I was like, people, you hear these testimonies and you just go, come on, that can't be real. But it happens. It's crazy. I told John Cox today, I said, it's like I've been double saved. It's like, I was saved by the Lord. Now my health is being saved. It's like crazy how it works. So,
Awesome.
been so exciting for me. And then when I share it with people, I think I overshare because I think they start thinking, yeah, right. You've gone off the deep end. Something's wrong with you, and I'm like,
Mhm.
I'm telling you, come, I'll show you my medicines. I'll show you what I stopped. I can't wait to get to the doctor because I can't wait for him to check me, and I'm not going to tell him. And I can't wait for him to check everything. And go, wow, we're doing really good. And go, yeah, I'm going to tell you right now, Doc, I am not on your medicines anymore, and so it's like been working great.
Mhm.
I know I'm being exuberant, and I just can't
It's
help it.
good.
It's the excitement you get
Yeah.
when
Yeah,
something really works.
Mm.
That's
you
hard
bet.
to explain over the years of trying to diet, trying to lose the weight. One of my medications had the GLP-1, and I had no clue what those do to you. And for months, I was having the side effects of it because I'd been on it for like 3 years. I didn't know it was a side effect. So I'm just going along blindly. And now, I mean, one of the things I am going to have to do is I am going to have an upper GI to find out if, when that stomach fills up, and I'm sure Scott can explain this a lot better than I can, but as the stomach fills up and it's not digesting all of those foods, you can develop these little rocks in your stomach like. So now I'm going to have to find out because that is one issue that hasn't went away. So I'm a little nervous about that, but um, I'm not nervous about what's been going on with me.
Mhm.
I've shared with lots of friends and the people I've already got started on it. They're calling me in like 3 days and go, dude, I'm not hungry. And I'm like, imagine that. So, anyways, I've probably taken enough of your time. So,
No, it's
Oh
all
no,
right.
this is awesome. So, Bill, you've only been what you'd say 10 days. I know we did a live just shortly after you started.
yeah,
I think a couple weeks ago or so.
yeah, it's
So
been
you're
2 weeks now. Yep.
oh my goodness,
Yep.
that's
Two,
awesome.
2 weeks. The first 3 days, the clarity was unbelievable to me. Uh, I didn't understand what they were talking about, but it's like, um, you know, being an old ignorant hillbilly that I am, it's like, what do you mean? Am I going to immediately get smart? But the clarity of understanding, it was like, wow, the focus was
Mm.
back, and I was, Yeah, it's just nuts. You know, I'm 63 years old. I just built a barn in 2 weeks. Um, you know what I mean? It's like my energy has been crazy too.
Oh,
That's
yeah,
great.
it's
That's
Yeah,
great.
awesome.
It's
Yeah.
awesome when the brain fog starts going away, and that's
yeah,
awesome.
yeah.
Bill, that's one of the best stories I've heard in a long time, and just yeah, success stories. So thank you for sharing that. That's absolutely
Thanks for
awesome.
letting me.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, uh, glad to have you here tonight. So Wayne, why don't we just shift over to you for a moment?
Okay.
You've got a really neat story about you and your family, your life, and some and struggles you went through in your health, and how you've come out on the other side. And to be honest with you, I kind of get emotional every time I hear it because, and I really do, just to see what it's done for you, and getting to see you over the last year and getting to know you. So, folks, I just want you to hear what Wayne's got to share with you tonight.
Well, thanks, Scott. I appreciate the opportunity to be on here tonight. I haven't done a live in a while, and haven't actually shared my testimony in a while. So I probably will forget some things, but we'll try to hit the highlights. Yeah, I am 69 years old. This was brought to me, and actually it wasn't even for me, it was for my wife. I was looking. I'm a two-time heart attack survivor. I had first heart attack about 7 8 years ago, and then 3 years ago I ended up in the hospital with a quadruple bypass surgery. And uh thanks to God and some wonderful surgeons, yeah, I'm doing great. So that's getting into, and I really still really didn't think anything of this protocol. I didn't know about it, and I wish I had several years ago, because I may not have been in the hospital getting my chest cracked wide open, uh and having my heart taken out and laid on a table and worked on for 8 hours. But it is what it is. So I was looking for something for my wife, Sandy. We both have been on diets off and on all our lives. Sandy's always struggled with weight, and I'm sure she doesn't mind me saying this. She's actually in Uganda, Africa, tonight, watching us live, and which is pretty incredible. Um, but we were looking for her. She was on the GLP-1 shot. I didn't like it. I never liked it. I really didn't ever want her on it. But she said she thought that was her last resort to try. And so I supported it. But after 3 months, 4 months, spending $500 a month, not getting many results, I said there's got to be something else. And Sandy, actually, she works at a retirement recreation center, and she saw a friend of hers that she hadn't seen for quite a while. And she said, "Boy, what has happened to you?" And um, she said, "Well," she says, "I've lost about 80, 90 pounds, and you really need to meet my daughter." Well, that so happens to be my best friend down there, Amy Van Outen. Sorry, I get a little emotional, because
Love
this
you,
is a,
Wayne.
yes, that you do. And this was a life-changing moment for me. So Sandy and I went and sat down with Amy, and she kind of explained about insulin resistance. And I had never heard of that word, didn't have a clue what it was. And after we sat there for less than an hour, I said, "Wow." I says, "I can't, I don't get it, but it makes sense." And I said, "For what?" I said, "Sandy needs to try this." And I said, "You know what? For what we can get on this, we can both be on it for way less than what you're spending every month." I said, "I want to try it too." I thought, yeah, if I could lose 15, 20 pounds, that'd be good, and then not even thinking about the really thinking about all the other results of it. So we both started at the same time. Within, I would say, 4 days, um, we both looked, said to each other, something's going on in our body. We don't know what it is, but we kind of like it. So going back to my heart attack days, when I left the hospital, my heart surgeon said, "Wayne, if you don't ever want to see me again and have your chest cracked open like you did, you will go to the gym 30 minutes a day, 5 days a week, and you probably won't ever have to see me again." So I honored that, and I still do. I still try to get to the gym when I can. Um, but it was such hard work. It was such hard work after my heart attack. I just was tired, and sore, achy. My joints hurt so bad that I'd have to come home from the gym and ice my knees so I could go back to the gym the next day to do my 30-minute workout again, and then come back home and ice my knees. And I thought, well, if this is the way life's got to be, I really don't want my chest cracked open again. So, it's okay. We'll do this. Um, but after about 4 or 5 days, the first thing I noticed on this protocol is my inflammation was going. Well, no, I didn't know it was my inflammation going away. My joints quit hurting. I was ready for getting replacement surgery on my knees. I had already been to the doctor. We had the x-rays, and he said, Wayne, you're bone on bone. When the pain gets too bad, we'll put new knees in. And I just kind of figured, that was the way my life was going to go. But within within less than 2 weeks, probably not much more than a week, my knee pain was gone. I could work out, didn't have knee pain. I'm still bone on bone, but the inflammation in my body was going away. And that was just a huge thing. And so I started really researching insulin resistance and all about it. I mean, Amy, told us about insulin and all the different things it causes. And I just really kind of got super excited about it. And it was from there on, it was just amazing what my body did, and not on weight loss. I did lose 35 pounds in 3 months. I mean, that yeah, there's my before and after picture, my fat little chubby face there. Um, but I did lose 35 pounds in 3 months, which was awesome. It was. Sandy also lost that much in about the same amount of time. Um, but I know today that this has had nothing to do with weight loss. I mean, that's our side effect. You read all these side effects of a drug, your statins and your GLP-1 shots, and if you really listen to all the side effects, they're scary. I'm sure Amy's going to talk about that too, about the cholesterol, the statins and stuff. But anyway, so that's what I found out. All of a sudden, the weight started falling off, and it was just incredible. I mean, it really was incredible on this protocol how the weight was coming off. But I really come to find out that was the least most important thing. My inflammation went away, and my sleep apnea went away. I was on antacids for 30 years. I haven't taken one since. Occasionally, if I have something really spicy, I might need one, but basically, often that. Um, Sleep apnea is gone. And as a CDL holder and all that, that is such a blessing not to have to, watch my CDL and send that in all the time when I get my, reinstated license and stuff like that. So um, that is great. Brain fog. Uh, after 8 hours in, after 8 hours in anesthesia, after my quadruple bypass, I had brain fog really bad, and I struggled. And I'm a dispatcher for a trucking company for a little while longer yet, but I was really worried about whether I could go back to work or not because it's a type of business where you get 7, 8, 9 guys they're dependent on you several times a day, and it's just go 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 go. And I was really worried about it. But once we got on this protocol, my drivers, a couple of them actually told me, they said, "What are you doing?" He says, by the end of the day, normally my brain would be mush. I couldn't even think straight anymore. But they said, "You are so much sharper." And I can only accredit that to this protocol, the Unimate that we sip on. We'll talk about more about that in a minute, but it cleared up my brain fog and energy. I wake up with energy, want to go. When I was working out at the gym before the protocol, I honestly thought, well, I was tired. I was just tired. I was 68 at the time, and I was just tired. I was ready to just say, put me out to pasture, let me graze with the horses until I tip over, and but my energy came back, and I literally, we all talk about aging in reverse, and I literally feel 15 years younger, um, with a ton of energy. So, you know, uh, cholesterol. I'm off my statins. The other big thing was my blood pressure medicine because being having a CDL. They have real stringent requirements, where you got to keep your blood pressure down in order to keep your license. And I was on the verge of losing mine because I couldn't. My blood pressure was too high, and even after my surgery, my blood pressure was too high. And the doctors gave me 3 months. He said, Wayne, you got 3 months to do something, or we're not going to be able to. You're not going to be able to renew your CDLs. So that was another huge thing. I now um, my evening blood pressures are 120s, 115s, 130 once in a while, but it's just they're just great. And that all being said is really wonderful. I can't say enough about that, but probably what happened, one of the big things that happened is I had cellulitis in my face over Thanksgiving or over Halloween last year. And so I ended up in the hospital for a couple of days on some super IVs to get rid of that. I looked like I didn't need a Halloween costume. I looked so bad. And so I was in the hospital for the weekend, and they got that under control. But then I had to go see my PCP. Had not seen him since we went on the protocol, and he said, "Well, get some blood work done. We'll come and take a look at it." And well, I walked in his office after. Then, of course, I'd lost 35 pounds since the last time I'd seen him, and he said, "Boy," he said, "Wayne, where's the other half of you?" He said, "You just I hardly recognize you." And I said, "Well." Started this amazing protocol, and I said, "I don't know what you think of it. Don't really care, but it's just changing my life." And she said, yeah, yeah, okay, just kind of. He said, "Well, let's take a look at your blood work." And he did. We pulled up my blood panels and stuff. And of course, my blood pressure was way better when I got there to start with. But we started looking at different things, and your cholesterol's going in the right way. And that was a little unusual because my heritage has no good cholesterol in their genes. And but he said that was starting to go up, and that was good. We looked at some other things, and my triglycerides were coming down, and he was pretty impressed. And we got over to kidney function, and that's probably one of the key things that is just so amazing to me is
Mhm.
we looked at my kidney function, and both I and my wife Sandy, we were both in stage 3 kidney failure. Um, they had to be careful what meds they give us and stuff like that. And we were doing okay, but it was just kept going slowly down. And on that result, it started going up. And he looked at that and he said, "Wayne," he said, "that just doesn't happen. I don't know what you're doing," but he said, "Don't stop what you're doing." And that was just, that just meant the world to me. Just a quick little side note. Sandy, after 4 months, Sandy went into her doctor. Her doctor was just totally amazed as well. But her triglycerides dropped 100 points. They went from 185 to 85 in 4 months. And her good cholesterol rate went up 30 points in 4 months. And her stage 3 kidney failure is at normal function in 4 months. Mine is
Oh,
mine is coming up, but she was at normal kidney function praise God and this protocol, because that's the only thing we changed in our life. And so, everything's just been totally great. It just it's an amazing program, and it's such a simple protocol. And I'm a lifer. I honestly did not feel I would see 70 years old. I felt, I had they got 4 new veins in my heart and all that, but I was just tired. I thought, I can't continue this way. And we've been on protocol just about a year now. And you know what? Today, my goal is to get out of my job and share this with anybody I can for the rest of my life. And I think I've got a lot of years left. After my quadruple bypass surgery, I didn't know why the Lord saved me. Why I didn't know. And I honestly was, even afterwards, before I found the protocol, I thought, I'm tired. I just want to give up. And I found this protocol, and that was just led to me by God and Amy's mom. And now I just can't wait to get out of my job so I can share this with people for the rest of my life. And I can see that being 80 or 85 years now. So thank you, Scott. That's kind of my story.
Oh, that's an awesome story. What awesome side effects to have, folks. If you're on your diet and you find out losing weight, improved cholesterol, blood pressure, boy, those are some side effects to have, right? Look at all those.
You
How
bet. You
awesome.
bet.
How
Yep.
awesome that is. Hey, if you're on here just listening to us tonight, or you watch the replay, I want you to drop any questions you have during. I'll try to answer them, or one of us will try to answer them. And if not, you're watching the replay. I go back and look at it, and I go back and answer questions. So if you're watching the replay tonight, just drop a question in there, and one of us will reach out and help you. So, guys, do you like roller coasters? Any of you like roller coasters?
Used to.
I do.
You? Yeah, I love them. But tonight we're going to talk about a roller coaster we don't want to be on, right? That's called the blood sugar roller coaster. And
Mhm.
so if you had some of those symptoms tonight that we showed you at the very beginning, you're probably on this. Oops, I went too far. I got a thing here. You're not seeing my screen. There we go. Up here. It's the blood sugar roller coaster, right? Is what I call it. And a lot of us were on. I know that I was on this roller coaster. Starting your morning out, eating a breakfast that maybe was a little too sugary or too much carbs in it, right? And our blood sugar spikes. And right when I said, and we talked about this earlier about when your blood sugar comes into your system, insulin gets released, and that's to help bring that down, right? And so it brings it down, and your blood sugar crashes too low, right? And this is where we start to feel tired. Maybe you have that mid morning kind of crash and you don't feel so good, or you just kind of you started out pretty good and then now you don't, right? And then what happens is we reach for a snack or something, or more caffeine or something that's sugary to bring us back up, right? And what we're trying to do here is it's so important for us to get stable blood sugar and keep our blood sugar low and our insulin low, right? And so what the roller coaster feels like to most of us is that we have points of where we get these afternoon crashes and this low energy and we don't feel as good. We get the brain fog. We develop the inflammation, Wayne, that you were talking about, right? You didn't realize it was inflammation. You thought it was just this bone on bone and really didn't understand it, but you started to figure out what's going on. And if I can get this, I'm having some technical troubles. There we go. Can't get to go. There we go. So what we really want to get across to you tonight is when insulin rises, okay? And when sugar goes up and your insulin stays high, your body goes into the storage mode. And your insulin its job is to keep your body to using energy, right? And but when it stays high too often, your body shifts from using energy to storing fat. Okay? So when we're eating day in, day out, all the time, having small meals, snacking all the time, insulin stays high and we never get into fat burning mode. And this is also when we start building up inflammation. We get low energy, afternoon crashes, cravings for sugar and processed foods. Our gut becomes unhealthy, and we'll talk about that if we have some time here in a little bit. Stubborn weight, especially around our belly, brain fog that both Bill and Wayne talked about tonight that they've seen go away, increased inflammation and stress on your body, and poor sleep and recovery. So we've heard many times, I know I used to believe that 6 to 8 small meals a day was really, really important. But as I got to studying gut health and insulin and how our bodies work, we need to give our body a time to rest. And I'm going to spend some time in a little bit talking about why that's so important. But just remember that when we eat, our insulin stays high, and you never ever get out of fat burn. You stay in store, or you never get out of a storage mode, and you can't get into that fat burn. So inflammation, right? We talked about that a little bit tonight. The hidden fire, it can contribute to fatigue, chronic diseases, and weight gain. Okay. And so these things that we're talking about tonight, when our sugar stays high and we can't get rid of the sugar in our system, and we go, that has to be stored somewhere. It gets stored in our joints. The fat gets stored in our muscles, right? And also we'll be talking about the gut in a little bit, but when we have an unhealthy gut, we get into chronic inflammation. And this inflammation impacts all these things that you see on the screen here on the right: the digestive issues, our immune system becomes weaker, joint pain, and discomfort. Well, we're going to talk to you a little bit more and get really specific in a little bit about what you can do about these things to help you. But I'm going to transition to the famous Amy Van Houten. I'm so excited to hear your story again, Amy. It has been such a long time since we've done a live together. Thank you for joining. I'm always inspired to hear your story. So, Amy, just share with us what it looked like before and after the protocol, and whatever is on your
Yep.
heart tonight to share with us.
Oh, I love it. Thank you. I have learned to love sharing my story. I know our each of our stories are so special. But the more I share it and the more I hear stories like Wayne's and like Bill's, I can't help but just I I don't I just I get like I just want to bubble over with excitement, right? It is such it is such an inspiration to hear people get their hope back, and I remember so specifically how I felt almost 3 years ago. In September it will be 3 years that I found this protocol, and I was at a place where, like both Wayne and Bill kind of described, I didn't know what to do. I like to tell people it felt like at the time I was grabbing hold of the end of some string, right, some yarn, and the ball of yarn was rolling away and I couldn't gather it up fast enough. That's how I was feeling, and it didn't matter what I was researching. It didn't matter what I was trying. Nothing was working, and I just kept getting sicker and sicker and sicker. And I was like, what is wrong with me? I don't feel like myself, right? I know that I should be able to make it through these days that God has laid before me, and I can't partake in this beautiful life. I was feeling held back, and I didn't like it. I did not like it at all. I felt a little bit lost. And about that time, I saw a friend just like we're doing tonight, talking on social media, right? I heard a friend, Diane, talking about this protocol, and I paid attention. I heard her talking about high cholesterol. I heard her talking about high blood pressure, and I kind of tuned my ear, right? I listened, but I don't do these sorts of things. Right? I had never done anything like this. I'll just tuck that away, and then she'd pop up on my screen again. And I watched her for about 2 months in my own skeptical self, right? I just kind of did my skeptical thing and eventually just decided, okay, what do I have to lose? Here I am, 55 pounds heavier than I want to be, feeling terrible. My joints were hurting. My migraines were out of control. I was giving myself shots one time a week at the least, sometimes more. I was already on a blood pressure medication that I didn't want to be on, and my doctor was starting to threaten lipid lowering statin medication. And my late husband, passed away of a heart attack when he was 39 years old. And the one thing I knew about statins, he had tried all of them. I think everyone that's ever been made, he tried. And the only way that he ever described them to me was that it felt like he was poisoning himself. And yeah, as you can imagine, I wasn't super excited to be like, yeah, sign me up. I'll do that. Right. Um, but I also was a little bit in a place where I felt like, well, I also don't want to leave my children, my 7 children, without any parents, right? So what do we do about that? And that was the point where I was like, okay, maybe I should see what this Diane is talking about, right? Maybe I should inquire. But it wasn't super easy. I'm kind of a pull up my bootstraps and figure it out kind of a girl. So to ask for help, that to me felt like a courageous thing, I need to ask for help. So I asked her, and it literally, the rest is history. I mean, I tried it, found out there was a 90-day money back guarantee, and I was like, say what now? Okay, what do I have to lose, right? It's all natural, and I'm gonna give this a shot, right? So I went and got my labs drawn, which I had been avoiding, by the way. I did not want to know, right? Because if you don't know, it's not quite as scary. Just kind of be oblivious to it, right? So I went and got my labs drawn, and just as I suspected, my doctor said, "I'm calling in a statin medication for you." I said, "No, thank you. I'm doing this protocol, and I have 90 days to try this out. So we're going to check my numbers again in 3 months." And she said, "Numbers don't move that fast, Amy." And I said, "Well, you're just going to have to humor me then, because we're going to check them out, whether you're helping me out with that or not." Right. So, yeah, she did humor me in my triglycerides, which were, that scary, sticky. It can cause sticky blood, really, essentially, right? It's that blood fat. It's not good. It's not a good number to have high. You want it to be low. Mine was 245. And I've now met people who've had much higher numbers than that, but it's not a good number. Yeah, Scott's like, "Yeah, that was me."
That's 500.
Yeah. Okay, so you're double that. Yeah. But I knew I needed that number to come down, along with other numbers to change too, right? But 245 in September, and then by December it had already gone down to 111 once I started the protocol, and that's after I'm already feeling so amazing. I woke up the next morning after I started taking the protocol, and I was like, "What is this?" Kind of like your friends, Bill, right? Like, "What is this? Like, what did you give me? Are you sure this is just plants? What is this?" Made me feel amazing. My joint pain was gone. I didn't have to shuffle around my bedroom like a little old lady, right? um I just felt great. So my weight started coming off, and my migraines were lessening. And I was like, "Okay, this is great. Now I'm going to wait and see what my triglycerides are doing," right? Yep, there I am, just filled with inflammation, feeling terrible, just feeling terrible. I got asked all the time at that point, guys, if I was pregnant, and my baby was 18 years old. So that's great, right? Not so much, not so much. I had a lot of visceral belly fat just crowding out my organs. So it wasn't a wonderful place to be. But, in 3 months, taking my triglycerides from a 245 to a 111, that's pretty stinking awesome. And now here I am 3 years later, numbers still amazing, down to I think 61 or 65 or something on the triglycerides, and just maintaining and able to enjoy life to the max, all because of this protocol. And it's just the most simple, effective thing, giving person after person after person that I meet hope, just hope, right? Hope again, and just be able to see, oh, oh, my life, I don't have to be put out to pasture, as Wayne says, right? There's life after this. And my mom, like Wayne said, she got her life back at 70, right? She got her life back. That's amazing. So I'll be quiet because I know there's a little bit more we want to share before we jump
Uh,
off
it's
for the night. So thank you for allowing me to share. And if you're watching this, guys, and you're this skeptical watcher like I was 3 years ago, give it a shot. Like, just at least ask more questions, right? At least ask more questions, even if you're nervous about something we shared. Because I was nervous about all the things, all the things. I don't like that. Ooh, I'm kind of a picky eater. What does it taste like? What is it? Can I afford it? It's I say that kind of jokingly now, but it was really important to me in the beginning, right? Those are things we have to sift through in our brains. Just know that it's okay, and have a conversation about it. You are worth investing in. So, anywho,
Oh, that's awesome. I'd rather hear the stories and understand how it impacts our lives. Folks, if you're on here
mhm,
tonight, the reason you see us smiling is because we love to share this protocol because we know what it's done to our lives. We see what it's doing in others' lives. And you heard Wayne say he can't wait to spend till he's 80 just sharing this or past that, right? And
mhm,
it's genuine to be able to share how help people start to heal from the inside out.
mhm,
Let me just kind of take us through for a minute of what's happened to us, right? You think about this. I got to thinking about this last year, and I was dealing with some weight issues and things like that. If I get time, I'll share my testimony. But we look at what happened. I remember looking at pictures last year as my mother had passed away, and other folks, and looking at pictures of like my grandparents and my great grandmother, and they were so skinny, right? Um, and but they ate things that we're told not to eat, right? We were told by, I'm going to just say, agencies that say don't eat a certain way, right? And then the food pyramid and whatnot. But something really, really changed. And I'm not going to go over all this on this slide tonight, but I want you to understand a couple things. Two things on this picture tonight I want you to understand. Sugar, right, is such a big thing in our lives. It's more addictive than, I'm going to say it, they've proven it's more addictive than cocaine, right? And you think about it, you say, well, I'm not addicted to something. Think about how many things that we eat with sugar in it. Almost everything has sugar. Look at this for a minute. Over the last 50 to 100 years, so much has changed. In the 1900s, the average person only ate 5 to 10 grams of sugar a day. Today, the average is 130 to 150. In fact, I would say there's peaks of people that do a lot more than that, because I was looking at a drink the other day at a store and it had 160 grams of sugar in
Oh,
one drink, right?
oh my gosh.
Woo! Just think about that for a moment and what it does to our body. Fiber, so, so important, right? In the 1900s, people were getting 40 to 60 grams of fiber. Today, um, the statistics are 15 to 20. Most of my clients that come in saying they're in 10 grams of fiber, because the foods that we have today in our stores are stripped of the fiber. The rice that we eat today, even the brown rice, it doesn't have the fiber in it. Wild rice has the fiber. People used to eat the things with fiber in it. And so talking about insulin resistance so important, and gut health with fiber. And so I cannot get my slides to go forward for nothing tonight without having to do it twice. But anyway, the gut is so important to our conversation tonight. When we think about the gut, it's not just about digestion. That's what most people think. Our gut is actually the second brain and the commander of our metabolic center. Okay. And fiber is so important to getting our gut healthy and feeding the right bacteria, the good bacteria. And if we feed it the right bacteria, then the good bacteria start to die off. And we don't get things like leaky gut that leads to inflammation. And I could talk for hours on this because that's what I do on a regular basis and really geek out on that. But what's really important is to understand is getting enough fiber. And when you get enough fiber, your body starts to heal from the inside out. And your bloating and gas can go away. Brain fog starts to go away because you're getting better communication with your brain through the gut brain axis. Instability of how you feel, mood swings and stress sensitivities go down because your serotonin and dopamine, 70 to 90% of that is made in your gut. Your um, your immune system, 70% of your immune system is tied to your gut. And so your gut is so important in this conversation tonight. So we get in this vicious cycle of insulin rising and falling. We stay with the storage mode. Inflammation increases. Our guts are imbalanced. And these can all be done by basically doing things with what we're going to talk about, time-based eating, in a moment. Don't get scared about that, because the way we're going to explain this and what help you, aka I guess fasting, don't run, because it used to scare me as well, along with a couple tools that we're going to share with you here in a minute of how to do this in such an easy way to start to heal from the inside out so you feel good. Now, I'm going to take just 20 seconds to a minute here to share my story a little bit. I was introduced to this protocol a little over a year ago. Being a certified gut and metabolic health specialist, I was dealing with weight around the middle I couldn't get rid of. I was working on my own protocol to do this, and I was had a person contact me, Alan Kashner, if he's watching that. Hey, Alan. But he introduced me to this protocol. I was extremely skeptical. My background was engineering. I had to tear the patents down and take a look at it. I literally pulled all the patents, went through it, made sure it was safe for my clientele that come into that I deal with in gut and metabolic health. Was very skeptical. Uh, Studied it and looked at how safe it was. My wife and I both started using it, down 45 pounds in 16 weeks. Blood pressure is now in the normal range. Triglycerides are in the normal range. They plummeted. We were well over 500, which is extremely dangerous. Reduced inflammation, increased energy. My wife's the same thing. She was reversed her prediabetes, increased energy, and off her antidepressants that she was on for over 30 years. I'm not going to
Awesome.
spend a lot of time going through that, but it's been transformational for me and my wife. It's been transformational for people that I share it with, and how it just starts to help us just feel better, get our lives back to where we can do things that we weren't able to do. We have fairly young kids at the time. My daughter and teenagers, and my at the time son was teenager, and we're able to do things that I just didn't feel like doing with them on a regular basis.
Mhm.
So our bodies were designed to rest, and we do that through intermittent fasting or giving our bodies a rest. And we have kind of three states where we eat, our blood sugar rises and our insulin responds, but we want to get our bodies into a rest state, allowing our insulin to come down, our digestion to slow, and our body will begin to repair and recover. And our cells start listening to the insulin again, right? And we start using that sugar efficiently. It isn't that because we don't have fuel for the cells. It's just we're putting our fuel and storing it in our liver. We're storing it in different parts of our body. We're storing it as fat. We're storing it as inflammation. And we get our bodies in a rest state. Your body can access the stored energies, your cravings start to calm, and the energy steadies. So I'm going to jump past because I'm looking at the time. I want to jump right into the protocol and share. Wayne, I'm going to have you, if you don't mind, share with us tonight about the protocol. We've been talking about it all night. We've got a couple tools. Wayne, I'm going to let you share with us tonight what it's all about.
Okay, thanks, Scott. Yeah, and I've been muting my. I'm sitting out on my deck. I've been got a highway right here, and so when the semis come by, it gets loud. So I've been muting me. So, but hopefully they won't for a few minutes. Um,
It's a,
uh, we have two simple tools. We have an yerba mate um, plant from Argentina that we sip on during the course of the day. We'll get into that in a minute. And this is the balance. This is where it really. This is where the company began. Um, there was a product that Big Pharma was trying to get, so they could take it off the shelves, and somebody bought it, and that's where we start with the balance and the benefits. The benefits of the balance are, and Scott kind of talked about it, and I'm not big into that, and I'm not going to go deep into it, but we talk about it, and I normally have my little balance in front of me, but I don't. But Scott, if you got it, hold it up. There you go. All right, good. I
yeah,
forgot mine tonight.
both flavors.
Uh, yeah, there you go. Um, the balance is so important for our gut health, and Scott talked about gut health and all the microbiomes in our stomach, and if your gut's off, your body's off. And there again, like I said, Scott kind of talked about that. And no matter what it is, when our stomach isn't working right, we start talking about IBS, constipation, diarrhea, skin problems, anxiety, depression. Um, my wife, 30 years with problems with IBS, and after being on the protocol, they kind of calmed down. Constipation, diarrhea. She had those all the time, and I struggled with it, not as much as her, but so this balance and this balance is kind of like a salad in your back pocket. We don't get enough fiber. Scott was talking about the fibers that we are getting. None of us get enough fiber because our foods are all loaded with sugar. And if I got a minute later, I might just tell you about a little story about last week about that. But um, yeah, the benefits of it, what we do is when we take this balance just before we eat our biggest meal, it coats our stomach, which kind of two things it does. It helps lower our food intake because we feel fuller, but more important, it coats our stomach. And when it coats our stomach, as our food goes in there, it encapsulates your glucose and your carbs. So as they get absorbed into your body, it keeps our insulin spikes down. And that Scott talked about that earlier about how We want to keep our insulin levels low, and this balance is just a wonderful product. And if you take that, on the food pyramid too, fiber first, then protein, then carbs, and sugars. Well, if we start with this balance, um, friend of ours we all know says it's like having a salad in your back pocket. You can
Mhm.
pull this out. You start with that before you eat anything else. Shoot down the balance. It coats our stomach so that it just helps everything absorb slower. Um, this I didn't know this. I learned this a lot about the stomach. It is such amazing. What happens in our gut controls our body, and that is so true. Um, my wife on anxiety and depression, 30 years on antidepressants, and she literally, when she gets home from her trip right now, she figures she's going to try to go without her last one. So after 30 years and being on this protocol for a year, she's hopefully going to be off them all. And that is just truly, truly an amazing thing. Who'd think that anxiety and depression could be a result of a of a gut problem? And
Yeah.
and it's just so true.
Mm.
So
Yeah.
that's where the balance. I'm sure Scott or Amy can add more to that, but
Did a
that's
great job.
that's the,
Went
that's the
Yeah.
late that's the old truck driver's version of what balance is. So
I thought it was a great explanation, Wayne. I think that one of the things that for me stands out about the balance is that Cleveland Clinic quote.
yes,
I mean, first of all, the Cleveland Clinic is the number one heart hospital, in the world, and to me it means so much because, if you can see the quote, I don't know if you can read it or not on the screen, but it's Wayne says, "Get my
yeah,
readers," right?
yeah, right,
It essentially means if you use this product, on a population basis, it can reduce the need and or lower the dose of a lipid lowering medication, and that's exactly what it did for me, right? It can get rid of that risk that you have of, all these heart problems that come along with, and these are, I mean, this is the Cleveland Clinic saying this, right? Like it's right there for us to see. The studies have been done. That's one of the things that just said so much to me about this product, right?
yeah,
It's backed by science, it's backed by research. My doctor can look it up in the PDR. They can look up balance in the PDR and say, "Oh, yep, this is an amazing product. You should give this a try," if you wanted to check with your doctor. So, yeah, that's the only thing I would add. So awesome, awesome, Wayne. What's next? What's the other piece?
the other piece of the puzzle is our
Mm-hmm.
Unamate, a drink that we sip on when we're not eating. And
Mm-hmm.
this is just totally incredible. It really uh, it took probably a week or 10 days, but my food noises were gone. We can talk about that in a minute too, I'm sure. But I get up in the morning, I mix up my Unamate, and I start sipping on it. I will. I can easily go 16, 18, 20 hours. And this past week, I eat once a day, but I sip on my Unamate. That's one of the things about it. We call it, my wife and I call it our happy juice because it just makes you feel good. The chlorogenic acids in it are so good.
Mm-hmm.
When we're sipping on this while we're in our fasting mode, it's like putting fuel on a fire for burning fat, and it is so incredibly helpful with that.
Right.
Brain fog's a big thing. Using, oops, sorry.
Oh, it's okay,
Anyway,
Wayne. We can hear you
I'll
fine.
talk a little louder.
No, you're
Um,
fine.
you know, using that sipping on the Udamate, it just makes you feel good.
Mm-hmm.
And just like I said, we call it our happy drug. And it just when we do that, see, our body is God created our bodies perfect, and we have natural GLP-1 in our body naturally. And when we use this herba mate drink, we sip on during the course of the day, and it says on the screen there, it increases our natural GLP-1 levels by as much as 67%. Well,
Mm-hmm.
that just takes away our food noises, and we're just not hungry.
Yeah.
I just don't think about food. Just it just it's really amazing. And when
Mm-hmm.
you don't sip on it, I mean, just real quick, when you don't sip on it, you get hungry. Uh, life happens. We were gone on vacation for a week to the cottage. Had a a lot of good foods and all this kind of stuff, and you kind of get you know, you kind of let life happen, and sorry, you kind of let life happen. Well, two things happen. I noticed I was getting hungry. Number two is there was just tons and tons of sweets and all that. So I indulged. Within 3 days after that week's vacation, my knees hurt, my fingers hurt. And
Mm.
I thought, well, what's that all about? I'm not using, I'm not using the protocol. The cool thing is life happens. That happens. You just get back on it. And within 3 days, my inflammation's gone again. And it's just amazing. The whole protocol, it is so simple and it's so amazing. But if you slip up, the good thing is you get right back into it. But the GLP-1 levels that we are naturally raised, the Unimate, just sipping on that, it just curbs your hunger, and you just don't think about eating.
Mhm.
Great.
Thanks,
Well, thank
Wayne.
you. Yeah, Wayne, thanks for sharing that. Hey, Amy, how easy is it to use? Tell
Oh,
us,
easy.
is
Yeah.
it hard? Take
No.
us real quick how we use this and share with the folks on there
Yep.
tonight how we go
Yep.
about using it and what
Yep,
it looks like.
I would love to. So, as you can see in the picture there's 3 packets a day. Scott's been waving his 2 packets there. There's 2 parts to the protocol that Wayne just shared. I wake up in the morning and you see those big flames. That's that fat burning fuel that Wayne was talking about. I wake up and I don't start eating, right? I continue that break from food, and that Unimate that I love so much, I just start sipping on that right away in the morning. And I sip on that throughout the morning, and it does all the things Wayne talked about. When I am ready to eat lunch, I personally do a balance before my lunch. If I'm ready to break my fast, some days I'm not, but typically I'll break my fast with my balance. Anywhere, you just have it in my purse. I can have it on the go. It's so simple. Doesn't matter if I'm home or away. You just do it on the go. Chug my balance, eat my lunch, fast again in the interim time, no snacking. And then when it's dinner time, I chug another balance and I eat my meal, and I do it again the next day. And I can't tell you how sustainable it is. Like, you just do it. They taste fantastic, you guys. I love them. It's just simple. It's just wonderful. So you should check it out. You should ask us about it. It's about $5 a day, a
Sure.
little over $5 a day. And it's the best $5 I spend every day. And I actually save money on the product because I used to take a pile of supplements, um that I needed to band-aid all of my issues, and I don't need those anymore. I'm not paying for breakfast anymore. I'm not paying for snacks anymore. And it's just wonderful. And like I said earlier, those clinical studies are there. It's in the PDR. There's a 90-day money back guarantee. That's craziness. Like, who does that? Your doctor doesn't say that, try this medicine. If it doesn't work, we'll just give you all your money back. No, like, this company stands behind their product. And if you can prove you're using it every day for 90 days, and you're using it at least, what is it, 50% of the time, you can get
And
your money back. So it's amazing. And it's all over the globe. My daughter was in Spain and there were packets lying on the sidewalk in Spain. Mom, your stuff is in Spain, right? It's all over, and backed by all of these amazing, um, you know, universities and top medical facilities back it. They know how amazing it is, and it just keeps proving itself over and over and over. So there's no reason for you not to try it.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
if and Amy, you brought up something really important.
Mhm.
Reach out to one of us if
Mhm.
you're interested in the product, and
Mhm.
we'll be able to share it with you. The other thing is through us, right? You get a special price, right? That if you go out on other websites and whatnot, try to get it, it's about $242, I think 235, depending on which website. This
Yep.
gets you locked in with a subscription, $159 to be able to use that. That's only about $5.30 a day, depending on what your sales tax is, maybe 560. But if you
Yep.
think about that, it's cost neutral, like Amy brought up, or
Mhm.
saving. We actually, I'm a budget nerd. We set on figure. We actually are saving money. We're eating less.
Mhm.
We eat better foods, right? And we actually just save money. So it actually has come to the point where if it costs us not only in our wallet and our health, right, to use to not use it, right? And so it just brings benefits to us, and there's no risk in this. Give it at least a 90-day try, or we like to say, give it a year try. Take your blood work, use it, watch it change, because for most of us, it took over 20, 30 years in some cases to create these problems, and you got
Yeah.
to give it some time. So,
Yeah.
folks, just if you're interested, reach out to one of these folks on here. Put a comment in the chat. Look them up on Facebook. They'd love to share it with you, explain more and how you can get it. Guys, I really appreciate you joining tonight. Love your stories. Very inspirational. And thank you.
Yeah.
Actually, not for only coming on, but actually out there helping people. I'm going to say it, actually helping people in terms of saving their lives, because we
Yeah.
know that we start to help them with metabolically, get their hearts in good shape, get their gut health in good shape. It's extending their lives so they can live the purpose that they were meant to be and
Yep.
designed to be, right? And
Yep.
so that's so exciting. So thank you for joining tonight.
Thanks,
You
Scott.
guys, sharing your stories. Folks, if you're on here, thank you for setting and listening to this tonight. We really care, and we want to be able to share with you. So reach out to one of us. Have a great evening, and you'll see
Yep.
us back on this live again soon. And share it with folks, and share the a replay if you want off of one of our